Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we'll go ahead and get started then. I guess I'd like to just start out by thanking MacArthur Library for partnering with Biddeford Community Gardens on this Biddeford Gardens series, monthly series. We've had some great speakers, and tonight we have Frank Wertheim, who is an educator in agriculture and horticulture with the York County Cooperative Extension, and he teaches the Master Gardener Volunteer Program class. So a little bit of housekeeping. If we do have someone that joins us, we can do Q&A in the chat. Or if you do have any questions for Frank at the end of the talk, we're happy to stay for a few minutes and he'll be happy to answer questions. And I'm also going to give you his email address in case you want to reach out to him directly. And that is Frank, F-R-A-N-K, Wertheim, W-E-R-T-H-E-I-M as in Mary, at maine.edu. And I'll also put that in the chat. So Frank Wertheim, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Holly, and thank you for inviting me to do this program. Pleasure to be here, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to promote the Master Gardener Volunteer Program, which we've been doing and has existed in York County since 1989. And I actually looked at the historical list the other day, and since then we have trained over 600 people in horticulture and over those years, and we average about 20 or so each year. And these folks become we train them in depth in horticulture and gardening and growing your own food, and then they become volunteers for us, doing outreach for the University of Maine Cooperative Extension in their communities, helping their communities with gardening and growing their own food and all kinds of good things. So what I would like to do is, I do have a 4-minute and 31-second very short video that I would like to roll that will explain the program, and then I can come back on, talk a little bit more about it, and then if we do have any questions, or if you have any, you can ask whatever questions, Holly. I know you're a master gardener, so you know things, but you could still ask them for others, and I'm happy to answer those. So I'm going to share my screen and let this little video roll. And got to optimize the sound. Yep. And share. So can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to let it roll.
Will provide background to help you better understand the structure of our...
Let me start from the beginning.
This video will provide background to help you better understand the structure of our organization and your role as a Master Gardener Volunteer. The Cooperative Extension System is a national informal education program designed to help people use research-based information to improve their lives. It was established when the Smith-Lever Act was signed into law on May 8, 1914 by President Woodrow Wilson and later enacted by Congress. The Smith-Lever Act established a three-way partnership between federal, state, and county governments. Like a three-legged stool, each partner plays a key role. The National Institute of Food and Agriculture, an agency within the Department of Agriculture, is our federal partner. The University of Maine at Orono, our land-grant university, is our state partner. County-level government is the local-level partner. We work carefully with these partners and the citizens we serve to develop and implement a plan of work that best meets the needs of our unique communities. In turn, we report the impacts of our programs back to each of our partners to show the program's value and advocate for continued funding. UMaine Extension has a dedicated presence throughout Maine in 16 county offices, 4 4-H camp and learning centers, several research farms, and a diagnostic lab in Orono. Our research and outreach efforts are focused in 2 major areas: the Maine food system and 4-H. The Maine food system includes commercial agriculture, home and community horticulture, aquaculture, food processing and distribution, business education, food safety, and nutrition. We help support, sustain, and grow Maine's $3.9 billion food-based economy. We engage volunteers in that effort through initiatives such as the Master Gardener Volunteer Program. More on that in a moment. 4-H is a youth development organization that empowers young people to reach their full potential. Youth participate in 4-H through clubs, camps, schools, after-school programs, and special interest projects. University of Maine Cooperative Extension conducts the state's most successful out-of-school youth education program, serving over 30,000 youth annually. UMaine Extension also supports research and outreach in ornamental horticulture, Christmas tree production, maple syrup, non-timber forest products, economic development, marine systems, and climate change. Extension Master Gardener programs educate people, engaging them in learning to use unbiased, research-based horticulture and gardening practices through a network of trained volunteers directed and supported by land-grant university faculty and staff. The first Master Gardener program started in 1972 in Washington State when Dr. David Gibby began training volunteers with a passion for gardening to assist Extension with horticulture education in the community. This unique program has become internationally recognized as a model for other volunteer programs. Today, Master Gardener volunteer programs exist in all 50 states and the District of Columbia, several Canadian provinces, and South Korea. In 2019, Maine Master Gardener volunteers made a difference in 53 community gardens, 50 school gardens, 57 demonstration gardens, and 66 programs impacting over 400 youth. Many volunteers have also served in the Harvest for Hunger program, which delivered almost 200,000 pounds of donated food through more than 200 distribution sites. Over 3 million pounds of produce have been donated since 2000. Volunteers are the heart of Extension. By giving your valuable time, effort, and expertise, you will help us to greatly magnify the value of Extension's work with the people of Maine. Thank you for choosing Cooperative Extension, and specifically the Master Gardener Volunteer Program, to help us expand our reach.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we're back. So that's a really nice, concise explanation. I don't think I could have explained it better myself. It's really well done with some nice visuals there. And I think that one of the other really beneficial things in going through the Master Gardener Volunteer Program is you become a part of a community of volunteers. And as Holly well knows, she works with many of those folks in the Biddeford area and the community gardens and others. And I know she's really valued the relationships and the people that she went through her class with, and then the people that have subsequently passed through, been trained in other years that have joined her and helping her do some really great things in the Biddeford community. I don't know if you want to say a couple words about that, Holly.
Well, I've been involved with our community gardens really since 2012, and took the class, the Master Gardener Volunteer class, in 2013. It's been rewarding and satisfying, and I've made some wonderful connections through this volunteering. And we are growing a lot of food for people, a lot of food insecure people with our community gardens here in Biddeford. And we're growing our community garden effort as well by expanding into new areas and involving more people and serving more people. So I feel really thankful to be a part of, to be a Master Gardener volunteer and part of this organization. Great.
Yeah, and I think that people really enjoy that camaraderie, and you know, even they, like Kate said, and last year over 200,000 pounds was harvested statewide. Sounds like a lot of work. It was, but it's so much fun when you're out there with others, you know, chit-chatting, and you're in the field and you're learning about farms if you're gleaning on a farm, or you're in a community garden growing for others and teaching others how to grow their own food. And it's really just very satisfying. I think one of the other things that people really appreciate about the program is the training is really high quality, and we bring in the top experts that we have in the state of Maine for subject areas, like for example, our statewide vegetable specialist that works with the farming community across the state, our apple and tree fruit folks, our pest management people that know all the insects and all the plant diseases and so on. And so the Master Gardeners personally interact with and get to know and can communicate with all of these folks and this vast network, which is statewide. And as you saw in the little video, is also a national network. So there is cooperative extension in every state in the nation, and we're in every county in Maine, and we're very active here in York County.
Great.
Yeah, and what I would say, I know Holly has I think, did you put my email in the chat box?
I will do that right now.
Okay. So you can email me at frank.wertheim@maine.edu, or you can just Google Maine Master Gardener Volunteer, and you will come upon our website, and there is on the website, there is a place to sign yourself up that you will get on our interest list. And so when the 2022 program launches, we will notify you that applications are open, and you will get an email link to that application. I will add that the program during COVID did change quite a bit, because we used to do the training all in person at our office in Springvale. And when we were hit halfway through our 2020 program with COVID, we immediately went online via Zoom. But the second half of that training, because it hit in March and we had started in January, it was difficult for people because our classes in person were 3.5 hours long with a nice food break in between. And that was really hard on the computer. So for 2021, we completely revamped the entire program, and it's all online, and you can learn at your own pace. So you can log in and do the lessons. There's recorded sessions, there's readings, there's reflection tools, there's little quizzes, and you can do it at your own pace. And then once a week, on either Tuesday night or Wednesday at noon, you could come on for a 90-minute session, a Q&A session, and they get recorded as well. So it really made it, although it wasn't in person, it made it accessible to more people, because if you had a job and you couldn't come when we did our training in Springvale, you know, on a weekday morning, you know, then it wasn't a problem. You could sign up and do it at your own pace. And the other change that we made was we split the class up. So we started in March this year, and we went through May, and then we stopped, and then we're going to pick it back up. And now our folks are out there, they're volunteering all over, and all over York County. And then we're going to pick it back up in September and go September, October. So it's nice the way it's spread out a little bit too, with that break and time for volunteering. And we do ask that everybody that signs up for the program makes a commitment that they will volunteer, give us 40 hours of volunteer time. And I know that sounds like a lot, but Holly, you can probably tell a couple stories about how many people you get engaged and how they enjoy it. And before they know it, they've done tons of hours.
Right. Yeah. It's not uncommon for people to do upwards of 200 hours a year.
Yeah, and we don't require that or expect it, but people do it because they their passion and enjoyment with the program.
Yeah, it almost becomes an addiction for me, anyways.
Yes, it does, and we have 170 active volunteers in York County, and like I said, we train about 20 each year, so that gives you an idea of our retention rate. It's really quite good, and again, that's because people enjoy that camaraderie and volunteering and doing something good in their communities and doing with like-minded people that become their friends.
Right. So I do have a question. You mentioned 40 hours, and that's actually the first year of after you get certified, and then the following years are 20 hours a year, right?
That's right. Yeah. So
okay.
once you receive your certification, in order to remain active, we ask that you volunteer 20 hours each year. So the load gets lightened after you have your certification. We have a lot of people, again, that still go way beyond that 20 hours. And then the other advantage for continuing to volunteer is you do have access to advanced Master Gardener training opportunities that do come along. So the education is ongoing. And honestly, people find they learn so much. They learn from us, but they learn so much from each other and by doing things in the field.
I'd also like to add that I was fortunate to receive a scholarship for my class through Saco Bay Gardening Club. So there are opportunities to get help with the class fee, which is currently
it's $220, but we also do offer some, if people have a need, we do offer a break on that. And then there are other scholarship opportunities. So we don't want, I mean, we have to pay for the materials, and it does cost us a lot to put on this program, but we don't want the inability to pay to ever be a roadblock. We'll help anybody find a way if they wanted. It is quite a commitment. It's a lot of hours of studying and reading and learning, and then a lot of hours of volunteers. So we do a lot of other gardening programs without the volunteer requirement. If the Master Gardener if you like what you're hearing about cooperative extension, but if the Master Gardener program sounds like too big of a commitment for you, there are other, we do work with the general public in many, many ways.
Mm-hmm. I was also wondering, now it sounds to me like you've made a permanent transition into doing all classes online, or is that going to be looked at?
It's going to be looked at. So we're actually having a retreat. Our statewide team is having a retreat the week after next, and that's top on our agenda. But what we realized, we spent so much time and effort creating some really, really high quality content that we put online, and we're still developing the content that we're going to be offering in the fall. And so there's no decision that's been made yet, but it's probably going to be, I'm interested in a hybrid where we do have the opportunity to get together at some points of time. And I can't say at this time when that would be, but we will continue, since we created all this amazing content, we will continue to utilize it. So that exactly how the 2022 program is going to look is still a little bit of an unknown for us, but we will certainly have all those details. So if you do sign up for the interest list when applications open, which will be probably December, January, because this past year, like I said, we started in March. When we had the in-person program, we used to start in January and run straight through to the end of May. So it was an intensive period. So now it's spread out a little bit more. But yeah, good question, and it does remain to be seen how this year's program will unfold.
Are you planning on doing any of the hands-on instruction for things like tree pruning and
Plant ID,
and things like that this year?
Yeah, we will. I will, because now that COVID restrictions are better than they were. We can get together with outside groups, and so yes. In fact, we'll be this year's class. We will be offering them an in-person field trip to go out to Berry Best Farm in Lebanon, where you went. I think with your class, and we'll be doing wildflower ID and forestry ID using the two wonderful guides that you get when you sign up for the course. One called the Forest Trees of Maine and one called Newcomb's Wildflower Guide. And so they'll get some hands-on experience with those, and then and we will highly likely also have an in-person pruning session where you'll get hands-on experience.
Great. Well, I really appreciate having had the opportunity to take your class, Frank. And I think it's one of the best decisions I ever made was to take that class, because it's really connected me and helped me establish my roots here in Biddeford and make wonderful friendships around gardening. And it's been a great experience for me. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, we appreciated having you as a great volunteer since 2012, and all the amazing work you've done in your community, and all the other volunteers you've brought in to our system. And it's mutual.
Thanks, Frank.
Yeah.
Well, I don't specifically have any questions left.
No, I think we've covered a lot, and people are welcome to email me. I can also put our phone number in the chat. You can call us at the office in Springville. We're located. Missed the 3 there. 324-2814. We're located in the same building that Nassau Health is in Springville, right by the fire station and Springville Public Library.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I do have one more thing to add, and that is every year, except for last year because of COVID, the Master Gardener Volunteer Program has its annual plant sale. And so I think it's a requirement that all students...
We had it this year. We did it. That's right. We skipped it last year, but it came back this year. It was tremendous. Right. Yeah, and so everybody gets together, and I think all of the new students have to participate in that plant sale. It's highly required. Yeah, if they can't make it, they can't make it. But and we raised $5,000, and all that money goes back into supporting programs such as the gardens in Biddeford.
That's right.
Yeah. Great. So it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. Really good.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you, Frank.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. And like I said, feel free to email me or call the office or just Google Master Gardener Program Maine, and you will find us. And you can sign up for the interest list.
Great. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Holly.
All right.
All right, I guess I'm going to sign off.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, good night.